Hello, and welcome to my channel, Hopewell Stories. What if the person you called sister your whole life wasn't your sister at all? That's the question I asked myself last summer when I found a box of old photos in the attic. I was cleaning out the house after Grandma passed away. The woman I thought was my mom had told me to go through the old stuff and toss what I didn't need. I wasn't looking for secrets. I wasn't even thinking about the past. But the past found me. The house smelled like dust and memories. Sunlight streamed through the cracked attic window, painting golden lines across boxes full of forgotten things, old toys, yellowed books, a broken record player. I was about to leave when something caught my eye, a small wooden box tucked behind a stack of newspapers. It was carved with tiny flowers and had a little brass lock. I didn't remember ever seeing it before. Curious, I pried the lock open. Inside was a stack of faded photographs, a folded letter, and a birth certificate. The first photo showed a young woman holding a baby. She looked familiar, long dark hair, kind eyes, a soft smile. But she couldn't have been more than 17 or 18. And the baby? It was me. I recognized the tiny blue blanket I was wrapped in. My mom always said Grandma gave it to her when I was born. But something was wrong. The woman in the photo wasn't my mom. Not the mom I knew. The mom I knew was in her late 40s. She had gray in her hair, laugh lines, and always wore those thick glasses. This girl looked nothing like her. Then I saw the name on the birth certificate. Mother, Lila Morgan. Father, unknown. Child, Daniel Morgan. Date of birth, April 12, 2005. Lila Morgan, that was my sister's name. My hands started shaking. Lila was 23. She was supposed to be my older sister. We grew up together. We shared a bathroom. We fought over clothes, stayed up late watching movies, and she even helped me with my homework when I was little. But according to this paper, she was my mother. I sat on the dusty floor, heart pounding. My brain felt like it was short-circuiting. How? Why? Who had been lying to me my whole life? I grabbed my phone and called Lila. She answered on the second ring. "Hey, Danny, what's up?" Her voice was cheerful, normal. "Lila, I found something in the attic," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "A birth certificate, with your name on it, as my mother." Silence. Then a soft sigh. "Oh, so you found it." My stomach dropped. "You knew. Danny, can you come over? I think it's time we talked." I drove to her apartment in a daze. The streets looked different, like the world had shifted under my feet. Every memory I had, Lila helping me tie my shoes, cheering at my soccer games, pretending to be mad when I borrowed her headphones, suddenly felt fake. Or maybe not fake, but rewritten. She opened the door before I could knock. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept in days. "I should have told you sooner," she said, stepping aside. "Come in." We sat on her small couch. Outside, rain began to fall, tapping gently on the window. "I was 16 when I had you," she said, staring at her hands. "I was scared. My parents, your grandparents, were strict, religious. They said having a baby at 16 would ruin our family's reputation. They said people would judge us. So what did they do?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "They made a plan," she said. "They told everyone I was going to live with an aunt for a year. But really, I went to a maternity home. I gave birth there. When you were born, they brought you home and told everyone you were their baby, that I was your older sister." I felt sick. "So Grandma and Grandpa, they raised me as their son." She nodded. "And I was told to act like your sister. No hugging too much, no calling you baby, just normal sister stuff. They said it was the only way to protect me, to protect you." "But why keep lying?" I asked. "I'm 18 now. I could have handled the truth." "Because the lie got too big," she said, tears in her eyes. "Every year it got harder to tell you. I didn't want you to think less of me. I didn't want you to hate me for not being honest. And I guess I was afraid you'd leave." I stared at her. This woman, this girl, had given birth to me as a teenager. She had watched me grow up pretending to be my sister while carrying the weight of this secret, and I had no idea. "What about my real dad?" I asked. She shook her head. "I didn't know who he was. It was a mistake, a one-night thing at a party. I never told anyone, not even Mom and Dad. Grandma and Grandpa knew his name." I leaned back, trying to breathe. My whole life felt like a story someone else had written. My childhood memories, our family photos, holidays, birthdays, all built on a lie. But then I looked at Lila, really looked at her. She wasn't just the girl in the photo anymore. She was the one who stayed up with me when I had nightmares. She was the one who taught me how to ride a bike. She was the one who defended me when kids at school made fun of me. "You've always been there for me," I said slowly. She nodded. "Because I love you. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. A long silence filled the room. The rain kept falling. "Do you hate me?" she asked, her voice small. I thought about it. Did I hate her? For lying? For pretending? For not telling me the truth? No. I was angry at the situation, at the grandparents who made her hide, at the world that forced a teenage girl to give up her identity. But Lila, she was just a kid too. She did what she thought she had to do. "I don't hate you," I said. "I'm just confused, hurt, but not at you." She let out a shaky breath and wiped her eyes. "I don't want to lose you, Danny," she said. "You're the best thing that ever happened to me." That hit me hard. All this time I thought I had a sister, but I had a mother, a brave, strong woman who gave me life and then gave up her own to raise me. Over the next few weeks, things changed. I moved out of the old house. I couldn't look at Grandma and Grandpa the same way. They apologized, said they thought they were doing the right thing. Maybe they were, but their right thing cost Lila her truth, and it cost me the real story of my life. Lila and I started spending more time together, not as sister and brother, but as mother and son. We went to the park. We cooked dinner. We talked, really talked, for the first time ever. She told me about her pregnancy, the fear, the loneliness. I told her about how I always felt like something was missing, like I didn't quite fit in the family. "You never did," she said softly, "because you weren't supposed to be their son. You were mine." One day I asked her, "Do you regret it having me?" She looked at me like I'd asked the most ridiculous question in the world. "Never," she said. "You were hard, but you were never a mistake. You were my miracle." I started calling her Mom in private. It felt strange at first, but right, like a word I'd been missing my whole life. Now, months later, I still think about that box in the attic. If I hadn't found it, would I still be living the lie? Would I have gone to college, introduced her as my sister, never knowing the truth? Maybe, but I'm glad I know. Because the truth, no matter how painful, sets you free. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not confused. I'm just me. Daniel Morgan, son of Lila Morgan. Not because of a birth certificate, but because of love. And love doesn't care about labels. So here's my question for you. If you discovered a secret that changed everything you thought you knew about your family, would you want to know the truth? Because sometimes the people we think we are aren't who we really are. And sometimes the truth, no matter how shocking, leads you to the people who were meant to love you all along. If this story made you think, share it. If it made you feel something, leave a comment. And if you've ever wondered who you really are, keep searching. The truth might be closer than you think.